Well, greetings everybody, you're with Got That Funk, and let me borrow your imagination for a moment if I may. Imagine that you're walking in the hills above where you live, a place where you've gone to walk and enjoy the quietness of nature and the outdoors, and you've been there many, many, many times before. And while on this journey, you roll out a blanket to have a picnic at the top of a hill, and you look over and you see a flower that you've never seen before. You've never seen this kind of flower anywhere you've ever traveled, least of all in this place where you've been so many times. It occurs to you that, as far as you know, that's the only flower of its kind in existence. And it then occurs to you, this flower could be the first of its kind, or the last of its kind. With that in mind, do you dig the flower up, take it back to your home, and nurture it with an interest towards propagating it so that you can release it back into the wild with a better chance of reproduction and therefore longevity? Or do you leave nature to its own devices, admire the flower for its exquisite form and color, its intoxicating fragrance while you're there, and then walk away? Imagine another scenario. You're walking in a place out in nature with the person who you care the most about, and you're in the phase of the relationship where you're still in getting to know each other phase, and you think this person might be very significant in the long term, but you're not 100% sure. And you roll out a picnic blanket, and you happen to notice this absolutely stunningly beautiful flower. Its color and form are mesmerizing, and its fragrance is absolutely intoxicating to you. You find it captivating, and you both mention to each other that you've never seen such an immensely beautiful flower. And the conversation starts off with the flower, but meanders like all great conversations do. You end up talking about yourselves in a very intimate, personal way, and to one another you reveal both the workings of each other's minds as well as the tenderness and texture of one another's character. And as the conversation meanders well away from the flower and onto one another, it occurs to you mutually that you're deeply in love. Do you keep the flower as a memento of that occasion and keep it pressed someplace, maybe a book or someplace else, to preserve it, to remind you of that special moment and that special instant when you realized that you found the right person for yourself and fell in love profoundly? Let me try another scenario for you. Hundreds of years ago, there were two kingdoms, and they were adversarial kingdoms for centuries. But as time progressed and each society progressed, during a time of relative calm between the two kingdoms, the prince from one kingdom married the princess from the other kingdom. And as a token of their love, the prince gave to her a beautiful flower. The flower was known to grow only in those two kingdoms, and it symbolized their union and the peace that their union brought to their two opposing kingdoms. As such, it became the national symbol for the new unified country. This country was quite strong once unified, and the flower became the national symbol and therefore was protected by law. You were not allowed to pick the flower, and the flower had to remain in the wild situation. It wasn't allowed to be cultivated or harvested for any reason. Even though one reason the prince originally gave the flower to the princess was the flower was known to have properties that could heal certain ailments. An extract from the flower had medicinal purposes. Fast forward several hundred years of progress and civilization, and as civilization progressed, the natural habitat for the flower diminished significantly. It became more and more rare. And as it became more rare, it still remained the national symbol. It was still illegal to cultivate or harvest the flower, even for medicinal purposes. But imagine the person that's closest to you, whether it's your parent, or perhaps your child, or your best friend, or a loved one, was ill, and you knew that the extract from that flower could save the life of your loved one. Would you pick it, even though it was against the law? Would your calculation change if you knew that picking the flower incurred the death penalty? What is the meaning of a flower? From its own point of view, a flower has only one purpose: to exist, and it never had any choice in the matter. Whatever meaning the flower has to others besides itself, and it can't even think, but supposing it has meaning to other people, they bestow that meaning on the flower. Meaning does not exist independent of an observer. No one meaning is either right nor wrong. We all choose to place value on certain things and to deny the value of certain things. You might just look at it and say, it's just a flower, who cares? And that's fair enough. Thanks for watching. May all your ups and downs be ups.